And it's recording. Okay, exercise 4B, circumference of a circle. What I want you to take note are just this section here. I'm going to draw a box around it. This is what I want you to just copy down right there. Just that section there. Okay, so I want you to copy down what is a diameter, what is a radius, circumference, the formulas for them. But what's key is the diagram. Okay, now, as you're copying it down, let's see what you remember from last year. What is the, listening, eyes and ears towards me. What is the diameter? Diameter by definition in a circle. What is the diameter? Can I please have Luca? What does diameter mean?
It's the distance across the center of the circle.
Very good. I love that you use the word center of a circle. So it's not just drawing a line from one end of the circle to the other point. That's called a chord. Okay, it's not a diameter. Diameter specifically has to be one point of a circle, but passes through the center of a circle to the other point on the circle. Okay, so it has to pass through the center. So very good. The fact that you had the word center. So please, when you're copying it down, can you please mention the word center of a circle? Okay, this is the diameter. Very good. What is the radius then? Can I please have, let's go with Rose. What is radius? Can you describe that to me? Very good. And so this is, if we're thinking about, it's all to do with the center of the circle. So distance from the center of the circle to any point outside of that circle. So you can see here in the radius, I'm going to color it in. So here we go. It goes distance from the center of the circle. So this is the center again, and we're coming out. That's a radius. I can draw another one. That's a radius. That's a radius. That's a radius. That's a radius. Okay? But since we already know that a diameter is anywhere on the circle that passes through the center and then connects to the other side of the circle, technically, the diameter is made up of two radii. See that? We've got two radii here. In that blue diameter, we technically have two radius. So if I draw it again, here we go. This is a radius. This is also a radius. So that's why we can say that the diameter is equivalent to 2 times the radius. Very good. Okay, and that's why part of your formula, if you have a look down here, the formula for circumference, notice they have 2r and then d. See that? 2r and then d. The reason why that occurs is because you're saying twice the radius is equivalent to a diameter. That's why the formula has two versions of them. So please copy down. Make sure to have the rule. Diameter is equal to 2 times the radius that I'm putting in box in purple for you. And then the circumference now. What is the circumference? We know the formula that I've given to you here is pi d or 2 pi r. These two formulas are going to be using 8 and 9, and then they'll expect you to memorize it by 10. But what is the circumference? Using this formula, what does it tell me? What does circumference mean? What does circumference mean? Let's go with James. Perimeter of? Good. When you say circumference, it only applies to a circle. Now, what's a perimeter, Cooper?
Area around.
Not area around. It's a different word besides area. Area is like a space. Distance around. Distance or length, okay? Length around a shape. That's what a perimeter is. So when you say circumference, you're saying what is the distance around the circle. Now, this is where it gets interesting when you start working with Year 9 mathematics next year. In a circle, that's a full circle. So the circumference is obviously the outside distance there. But if I didn't give you a full circle, and I gave you a quarter of a circle, okay? Let's say this is 3, and this is 3. What is and this is 7. What is the circumference of my circle? 3 times 3 gives me a part of an area. So I don't want area, I want the circumference. Circumference is perimeter. Now, when you're using this formula, see, the key thing I want to teach you here is, what does this formula calculate? See, we said that's the outside of a circle. What would this calculate? The length. But which part of the length? Is it going to, would it just be the 7? Would it be the 7 with the 3 with the 3? Just the 7. So I want you to pay attention here. If you didn't pick up on what I was saying, the formula only is ever for the curved distance. When you're doing these questions and they ask you to find the perimeter of this shape, if you use the formula, it doesn't give you 7 and the 3 and the 3. You have to add on the 3 and the 3 yourself. Okay? So the formula only gives you this section here. Okay? The formula currently is for a full circle, but if you want a quarter of it, well, then you divide it by 4. Okay? So today I'm going to do an example where you have parts of a circle, and I'm going to do examples where you get a full circle. Okay? So in your notes right now, what should you have? I expect you to have diameter, definition of diameter, the rule for the diameter. Radius, definition for radius. Circumference, the formula for circumference. That's what I expect in your notes at the moment. Okay? Now, once you've got those two notes, I want you to copy these two shapes. We're going to do examples with your calculator, assuming you've got a calculator. I'm going to get my digital calculator up as well. So, here we go. Let's have a look. So, first part of the question, example 4. Copy A down into your exercise book. So I want to see a circle. Doesn't have to be a perfect circle. You just draw a circle. Now, this length here, what do we call this? This 3.5 meters. What's the name given to this length? We've got radius versus diameter versus circumference. So which one is this one?
Radius.
Radius, very good. So you would write radius or you can write R. So the letter R is equal to 3.5. They want you to find the circumference of these circles. So circumference, you've got your formula. Okay, I asked you to copy it down before. There are two versions of it. C, which is for circumference, is equal to what again? So in your notes, what's the circumference formula? We had 2 pi r. That's one of the formulas. What's another way of writing this one as well? Very good. Pi times d. Okay? Now, you can use either one, but in this case, since we've got r equals 3.5, that's the radius, I would rather use this one. Okay, so twice the radius times by pi on your calculator will give me my answer. But notice they said correct to 2 decimal places. So let's do this on our calculator. Okay, so I'm going to type it in. I'm going to put in 2 next to pi means times, so times pi times radius, which is 3.5. So on your calculator, I want you to be writing. So here we go. We're going to go to my calculator side. Here we go. Calculator. 2 times. Now on your scientific calculator, each and every one, you might have a different one, but I'm looking for this symbol. That one, I don't know why it's moving. Okay, so that symbol right there, that's pi. So that's the pi symbol, which is equivalent to about 3.14. Okay, so 3.14 is the symbol pi rounded. So I want pi. So here we go. I'm going to pick pi. So 2 times pi times. Okay, now on my senior calculator, they put dots. So in America, they use dots to say times. Okay, so center dot means multiplication. So 2 times pi times 3.5. If I press Control Enter, that gives me now 21.9911. Am I done? What am I missing? 2 decimal places. So let's round this to 2 decimal places. For those who forgot from the start of the year, 2 decimal places means after the decimal point, I'm going to use 2 digits. Now I can see that there's a 9 and 9, but what do you have to check?
The ones
Behind it. Very good. So this is my 2 places. I need to check the next number. If the number is
5 or higher.
5 or higher. So if it's 5 or higher, then you increase that value. But since this is 1, you don't need to round it up. You keep it as 9 and 9. So my final answer should be 21.99. Am I done? Meters. Do I need to put the square on it?
No.
Why?
It's circumference, not the area.
Very good. It's not area, it's circumference. Circumference is distance. So that's what I expect to see in your notes. You got a question, you got your method, so the approach, how did you do it, what did you round off? That's what I want to see, vertical layout. So notice my equal signs that are all equal, in line. So they're all aligned, and that's how I want you to lay it out. Okay, question, method, answer. Let's try the next one. Next question. Again, we've got 4 here, but notice the dotted line is 1 point and it goes through the center and it goes all the way across. What is this distance called? Let's go with Jake. What's the name for this distance?
I don't know.
You have circumference, diameter, or radius. Which one do you think? You got 1 in 3 chance. Diameter, very good. Diameter is the one that goes from one point to the other, passing through the center. So I'm going to write here D, which is for diameter, is equal to 4 centimeters. Now, you've got your 2 formulas here. Which one would you use? C equals 2 pi r, or would you use C equals pi times D?
C equals pi times D.
Very good, because that has diameter. But even if you didn't have it, you know that radius is just half of the diameter, so you could have done that too. But it's easier just to apply C equals pi times D. So here we go. We're going to apply the formula. C is equal to pi times D. We know that D is equal to 4. So on your calculator now, I would want you to write pi times 4. So here we go. I'm going to go on my calculator. 4 times pi, or pi times 4. And I get 12.5664. So here we go. 12.5664. That's not my final answer. What should my final answer be? Rounding to 2 decimal places. Be careful with this one. What should it be rounded to 2 decimal places? 12.57. Okay, so you look at the first 2 digits. So 2 decimal places, 5 and 6. But check the next digit. If it's 5 or more, so this is the one you're checking. If it's 5 or more, then you increase that last digit. So that now becomes 5, 7. But I'm not done yet. What am I missing? Centimeters. Very good. Don't forget the units. Okay? So that's what I want to see. Question. You've got your diagram, the approach, method, answer. Question, method, answer. Okay? So that's the first part of your exercise. That's what they want you to do. Get used to knowing what a diameter is, what is a radius, finding circumference. We have one more problem I'm going to get you to see. I'm going to pick a hard one. And I want you to copy the diagram down because it's a common one that students find tricky to do. This is when you don't actually have a full circle. So what happens when you get shapes like, let's do this one. The yin yang is always a common one. So I'm going to do this one with you. See if you can put on your creative juices and think how we're going to find, in this case, they want you to find the perimeter, which means the outside distance of this shape here. So what I'm trying to find is this distance on the outside. This is what I want to know. If it helps you, I'll give you a hint. There are 3 parts to this. Okay? Michael, you've got your hand up.
Is it, so 9, so pi times 9, and then you'll get your circumference, then you divide it by 2.
Oh, okay, good. And which part of it will it give me? Can you tell me? So you're right, you get 9.
It will give you that, and then
Which one? This one?
Plus 9.
Or this one? Or this one? Which one?
It would give you that top part, and
Up here?
then you would plus 9.
Okay, so you're saying C equals 2. What was your formula again?
Pi times 9.
Pi times 9. Which formula are you using? Is this pi d?
Yeah.
Okay, so pi d. Now, what does d mean again? Diameter. So you are doing the diameter of what circle?
The whole thing.
Not the whole. See, this is the whole thing. This is the big circle. But you can see the 9. The 9 is only about the radius of that.
Oh, okay, no, that's helpful. Okay, so you do, sorry, yeah, so 9
You're right, though. This
pi,
still gives me something.
9 pi,
Hmm.
and then, so you get the answer. I forgot my calculator. So,
All right, let's do it. Let's do 9 pi. So I'm going to do 9 pi. 9 times pi Whoops, that's not pi. 9 times
28.27.
28.27, yes.
Then you times that by 2.
Ooh, no. All right.
Sorry, you plus 28.27 together, so that you have, like, I'm just in my head, and then you would also do 9 plus 9, so 18 pi, and that would get you the top part of the circle.
Ooh, okay. All right. I see where you got. You got part of it correct, but then from from here on, that was incorrect. So these steps are correct.
Sorry, yeah, divide that by 2. Oh, and then you do, yeah, so that, and you don't need to times that by 2 at all.
Ah, okay. All right.
You need to half it.
All right.
Then, but there's 2. But then you need to times it by 2 again, so it doesn't actually, it's irrelevant. And then you just do 18 times pi divided 2. And then you plus them both together.
Very good. All right. Just so that others aren't confused when they're looking at this, there are 3 parts to this, to solve this. Okay, so I'm going to draw the 3 parts for you. What Michael is solving right now, and the way I want you to sort of see it is, can you find the 3 circles involved here? Okay, there are 3 circles here. You've got this semicircle on the bottom. Okay, that semicircle is made of that circle. So this 9 that Michael is using, pi times d, that's the diameter of the small circle. He only needs half of it, right? He only needs half of this. So if you use the formula, it will tell you this entire distance, but he only needs half. So that's why he said divide this by 2. So pi times 9 gives you the entire distance, but then I'm dividing by 2 to just get that bottom part. So you see what I'm doing here? If I just did pi times 9, only gives me this distance here, just that bottom bit. So we want to do pi times 9 divide 2 to get just half of the distance. Now that I get pi times 9 divided by 2, so I'm going to divide this by 2. So here we go. I'm going to divide it on my calculator. Divide it by 2. Whoops. Divide it by 2. You get 14.1372. Now, there is one thing I want you to be careful of, and I need you paying attention to this part here. So eyes and ears towards my board. Thank you. One of the mistakes that students tend to do, see the calculation that I'm doing here? Notice most students will do 9 times pi, and they'll get this, 28.2743. Then what do you do next? You said divide 2, right? So most students will then round this answer. So they'll go 28.27 or 28.3 and divide by 2. Problem with that is you've just ignored all these digits here. See that? So when you ignore those digits in the later years, every digit counts. In the very larger system, every single digit matters. So if you round it off early in your calculations, your final answer is going to be off. Okay, even if it's only 0.2, in the larger scheme of things, that could be 2 million. Okay, so that's why you need to use the exact answer. You can't round it off while you're working. So how do you avoid doing this? I want you to type it all in one go. Okay, so your answer has to be exactly like mine. It should be 14.1372. If you're not getting that, you're doing it wrong. Okay, so how should you do it? On your calculator, if you know you're going to do pi times 9 and divide 2, type it all in one go. Don't do it in separate goes, or if you do it in separate goes, don't round off your answer as you're doing it. So you should be typing something like this. You should be doing 9 times pi, whoops, that's not pi, this one, pi, and then divide 2. That's what you should be typing in. And then when you press your answer, it should be 14.1372. If you don't do that, so watch. If I just did 9 times pi, right? And then this is what you did. You go, oh yeah, that's 28.27, so I'll do it. 28.27, and then I say divide this by 2. See the answer? That answer is different. You've got now 14.135, whilst I have 14.1372. And I've only rounded off by 2. You can imagine if we rounded up to the 8th decimal point, your answer is going to be way off. And that's why in the senior levels, that right there is a technique. So make sure that when you write your working solution here, type what you see in the calculator or use brackets to help you. But don't break it up and then try to round it off here. Okay, otherwise you start getting your answers wrong. So make sure that it is all done in one go. Okay, so we've done it all in one go. That gives us 14.1372. Very good. That only gives us the bottom part of this circle. So I've only got this part now. I need to find out this part. How do I find out this part now?
Just do the exact same.
Do the exact same thing. So I know that I need 2 of these. So times that by 2. Okay, so then that ticks off this part. How do I then find the very top part? So this half circle on the top. How do I find this circle? So try to picture this as a big circle. What information do I have to find this top half? What do we have? So I'll draw it again. I'll make it a bigger one so you can see. Can anyone see what information I've got for this massive circle here? So I'm going to draw this circle here. See that circle? I only want the top half, just the top half. What information in this circle that I have that I can use? We only got 2 pi r or pi d? Very good. This is the radius of the big circle, or the diameter from this point to this point is what?
18.
18, yeah, you double it. So 9 plus 9 gives you 18. So you can see this right here is the diameter of 18, and you can then find the top half by saying C equals 2 pi times 18 divided by 2. Why have I divided by 2? Because I only want the top half. I don't want the bottom half as well. Okay? Once you've done all of that, you add them all together, and that gives you the total distance. So there are 3 parts to this. So you can see why this type of question challenges you. So the yin-yang is a very common one that students find tricky on an exam or a test. What I want you to do is start to practice with the easier questions first. So you start off with full circles, and the harder questions are down here. You start doing half circles, quarter circles, okay, and then composite shapes. So that's where you combine your rectangles and then maybe a bit of triangles later on. But at the moment, that's all I want you to practice. Okay, so those are my 2 examples for you there. I'm going to finish off the answer over here. I'm just going to do it on a CAS, and then I'll give you that time to complete your work. Okay, so here we go. Let's see what my answer comes out to be. So you should have pi times d, pi times 18 divided by 2. That gives you 28.72 plus the previous answer as well. So your final answer for this question, perimeter is equal to 56.55 meters. Okay, so if you were doing that question, you want to check if you got it right. It should be 56.55 meters. Otherwise, there you go. That's it for my